Hey everybody, my name is Brian Alexander. Thanks for coming out today. I'm going to want to talk about what can be different in our gun laws to improve safety without gun control. My three main points are going to be how do background checks help, how does gun safety education help, and how will reporting people's mental illnesses help. So, I really want to share with you guys how there's other ways out there to keep our world safer without gun control. Taking away guns, you're only hurting that law-abiding citizen that wants to go out and get a gun the right way. There's ghost guns and guns floating in the black market all over the country. You're never going to get rid of them because weapons aren't serialized to an individual. The only thing that happens is when a police runs a serial number on a firearm, they can see if it's stolen or not. In the state of Georgia, you cannot actually see who that firearm belongs to because you can do a private sale. I can take a blank sheet of printer paper, write this weapon was sold to this person on this date for this amount, we both sign it, boom, gun sold. So let's get on to that first point. What do background checks include with purchases? So working at a gun store, I work at a gun store. I'm ex-military, in school now, pursuing a criminal justice degree, so weapons have been a very big part of my life and still are. I'm surrounded by them constantly, never had an incident, knock on wood of course on that one, but I know my gun safety and I've been taught from a very young age how dangerous they can be if not in the right hands or operated correctly. So every time you buy a firearm, if you don't have something called a Georgia weapons carry license, at least in the state of Georgia, other states do it, I have to run a background check every gun you want to buy. So even if you come in today, buy a gun, gotta run the background check. You come in tomorrow, you want another gun, doesn't matter. I have to run another background check. The only way to get around that is if you have a Georgia carry weapons license, which is a 5-year license you can get. FBI does their background check on you for about 2 weeks and they mail you the card. When you have that card, you are registered in the system. So if you commit any crime, any act, they tear that card up, shred it, void it, put out a notice, so that is taken away. But since the federal agency adopted the background check in 1994, over 3 million people have been prohibited from possessing a gun, or that we have stopped from purchasing a firearm, coming back on that background check when we do it with every gun sale. More than 35% of those denials involve people with convictions, felony convictions. And you would be surprised the number of people that I get in the gun store that come in and tell me they have a felony conviction and can they get a firearm, which is something they know right off the gate. And we're like, no, you need to leave the store now. You're not even legally allowed to be in here. But people will try to do what they can do. But I can tell you, as soon as we turn around and we tell them no, they're going to go out to the street. They're going to find somebody selling a gun, with a private sale, and boom, guns all over the place. The only thing you're hurting is that law-abiding citizen that's trying to do stuff the right way with gun control. So let's talk about a little bit of the gun safety courses. I'm not going to get too deep into this because I have mixed feelings on it. Because yes, it's good to have safety training on a firearm, know the safety, know the dangerousness that it can potentially have if you don't operate it the correct way. But it depends where you go, how in depth they get it. In the military, we train a very particular way. Coming from a military family, I had that beat into my head from a very young age, from when I was 8 years old. First time on the gun range, I messed up and I pointed a weapon at somebody, not intentionally, but I just flagged them trying to set the gun on the table, and I caught the meanest right hook of my life from my dad at 8 years old because he wanted me to know the importance of that gun safety. So there's the NRA, the National Rifle Association, has a voluntary education that they do, and there's over 116,000 NRA certified instructors, and that number is constantly growing. I'm in the process of trying to get my instructor's license right now through them. But they reach over 1 million people every year. They go out to groups with Boy Scouts. There's actually a thing here in town called the Well Armed Women of Columbus that is just for women that they might be single, need a little extra protection, want to know how to protect themselves. So there's groups all over the place that people are helping these people get that knowledge. But depending on where you go, it's going to be how hard it is beat into your head of the safety that gun can have. So if it's a lenient class, you're going to be lenient with a weapon. If it's an intense, hard class that you're taking, that somebody really shows you the damage of what these firearms can do in the wrong hands or not properly used, then you're going to be a lot more firm with that gun safety. It's going to bother you anytime you see something not safe. You're going to go over there and stop it. So my point 3 is one that really hits home for me because everybody talks about veterans getting out of the military with mental illnesses, and you see shootings from those. Yes, completely agree with that. You do see them with mental illnesses, but when they have that mental illness, they are not supposed to be able to purchase a firearm. It's actually illegal for them. The problem is something, the privacy rule of HIPAA, which we even see here in college when it comes to financial aid and stuff. Nobody can give out your information over the phone. Stuff can stay private with the doctor and you. So the HIPAA rule prevents doctors from spreading personal information to patients. Reporting systems give information for the background checks, so the ones who should not be able to purchase guns can't. But HIPAA stops those reporting systems right now. We need to change that, because if you have a mental illness and you come to the gun store, I can pick up on stuff and I can say no, but a lot of people can hide that for, that little bit of time that they need to act serious with a firearm. So let's go ahead and pull up 3 of the mass shootings that I can use by example that would have been prevented if that HIPAA information would have been released to people selling the guns. So the 2007 Virginia Tech shooting was the biggest mass shooting, mental illness patient. 2012 Aurora, Colorado shooting in a movie theater, mental illness patient. 2017 Sutherland Springs church shooting. He was an Air Force officer who was dishonorably discharged. That means he was kicked out of the military on bad terms. That means he should not have had a firearm, which should have been an indicator right there. But also we go to that mental illness card that nobody knew about. But then we can always come back to that point. Guns are floating around everywhere. You can get your hand on a firearm, go into your neighbor drinking a beer with him, and you get to talking. It's like, hey, I got a gun. You want to buy it for $500? That's completely illegal here in Georgia. So all we're doing with gun control is taking away those guns from the law-abiding citizen, because guns are flowing everywhere and you're not getting rid of them. So people that actually want a firearm to protect themselves or hunt, they're going to be the ones that are suffering. So to wrap this up, we don't need gun control. We need stricter regulations on the people that are allowed to purchase a firearm, bigger background checks, more safety requirements. You should be required to take that safety course and have a card that says, hey, I know how to operate this properly. Because I've had guns pointed at me inside the gun store because people didn't know how to operate them properly. And love it. It's my favorite thing. So, to wrap this all up, gun education is a big thing. Mental illnesses and the HIPAA Act is also a very big thing. Hiding that information just isn't fair to the community. It really puts people at risk. It really puts people in danger. I'm a big Second Amendment guy. Firearms have been a living for my life. But not everybody out there should have a firearm. You should be able to prove that you know how to use it, and you should be able to prove that you don't have any mental illnesses that make you want to go out and hurt people. It should be used only for protection, hunting, and, that's really it. So, thank you all.